souls and rebels. How are y'all feeling out there? Good. I hope so. I hope so. Yes. As you can see, I'm not wearing like a scarf today. I'm finally feeling a little bit more confident in my freeform hair journey. They finally taken structure and taken roots. If you didn't know, but like I absolutely love trees, and that's what like I basically want my hair to mimic, like trees. Trees. I feel trees are so vital to life. It helps provide oxygen that we also desperately need, and it's like trees are are an extinction, is like an extension of like Mother Earth. I love laying on the roots of trees. It's so healing and therapeutic for me. But yeah, I'm excited. So yes, and yeah, I did have free forms, like a set of free forms before, but I felt like that set was a journey of me of finding my strengths of like forming like a foundation of me developing like trauma responses and just learning how to survive and navigate this inaccessible society, like because I constantly feel like an alien, like a foreigner here on Earth. But not to take up too much of your time, I want to welcome you to today's live stream. Yeah, Monday live stream. And today is all about breaking taboos and navigating neurodiversity and Black communities. And as you know, like I am on a mission to pioneer the world's first neurodivergent-focused social media production company. But I also want to provide y'all with a little like back information and background information of how I got into this point. And I'm just going to say this. I will forever and continue to have beef with Dr. Umar Johnson. Like, I feel like he is a very prolific and eloquent speaker. He have good ideas, um, but I feel like they not being executed properly, and also like in his stance with advocating Black parents to not get their kids tested for autism or to have like an IEP. I know for me in my personal journey, that was like life changing for me. And I'm also going to play a video of his talk. And I guess his stance is that like when he talked about not to get tested, and a lot of his messaging is for neurodivergent Black boys that have autism and that end up in like the prison system. And I agree with some of his points where he talked about the school to prison pipeline, and how a lot of these Black boys that have behavior problems that's associated with their neurodivergency, that can lead them to enter into the prison system because there are no notable disability tools and resources. And I know in Black communities and in my experience of living in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, and I strongly believe that if these tools was available and provide these parents with the resources to help they disabled or neurodivergent child to live a successful, comfortable, and independent life instead of being having to be micromanaged and sheltered. And I feel like that's the problem. And that was like the mission of what I was trying to accomplish when I developed the I Am event series, Disability, Art, Life, and Culture, back in 2022. But before I dive deep into that, I want to play the video of Umar Johnson's stance, and then we can go from there. Yes, and that's what's up. So, yes.
Stop getting your children tested for special ed. I'm going to say this and I'm done. In the post-COVID,
The only thing a school is required to do for your child is provide instruction and lunch, unless they have an IEP. I don't know what the good brother was talking about in terms of Title I and demanding a tutor, but IEPs provide mandated services for your child. Instead of trying to dissuade parents from getting their kid to be evaluated, you should be encouraging them to know their rights. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a child that has spent the last 2 years learning remotely. They come in, have a ton of behavioral issues. If they don't have an IEP and they get into a fight, most likely they will be suspended, assuming there's no restorative justice at the school. Let's say they have an IEP, right? And on it is mandated counseling. As the parent, you get to say, I want to see the documentation that my child has been getting their mandated services. And if they haven't, you can sue the school because that is what they are supposed to receive. I am going to make a part 2 to this because I feel very strongly about it.
stop getting your children tested for special.
And yes, and I'm thankful for the late that stage. I will talk about my personal experience with having an IEP and how that has been like a lifeline. Like I feel like I wouldn't be where I am right now in achieving my dreams and being on the verge of living a comfortable, successful, and independent life if my mother didn't do what she did and making sure like I had like an IEP. I had a neurological psych eval because like even though I got that right like when I was in like the 8th grade after my near death car accident between like 2005 and 2016. But the benefits of having like a IEP, it follows you throughout your entire educational career. And so I received the proper services that I needed while I was in grammar school and high school. And I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I can say SIC does a superb job and a better job than a lot of universities here in Chicago because a lot of these universities don't have the proper disability resources to help students with disability to navigate the educational the educational system and to have like a productive college experience. Because like for me, like I don't know what it is like about me, but it's like I always find myself in scrabbles and arguments with people, even when like I be quiet because I don't like to argue because I can go from 0 to 100 real fast. And I know like I have developed like tools with my mother to really help me to navigate different situations, when to like walk away or when I'm feeling heightened, or just to be quiet when I feel myself that's to exploit. And there was a couple of situations at SIC where the teacher felt like I was being like disrespectful because like I stopped talking or I just walked out of the classroom, and I had people call like the security guard. Like I was like this close to getting like arrested. And it's just like I know that I appear different from neurotypical people, and my methods of calming myself down or interacting with others may seem different from others. And I feel because I am like my mannerism is so different from a lot of neurotypical people, which is the main reason why so many neurodivergent individuals feel the need to mask, because like we are super sensitive. We can feel like other people energy as if we are them, and it's very hard when you feel other people energy or trying to like conquer your autonomy or trying to have power and control over your freedom as like a human. And like that's really challenging. So I like it still is like an ongoing learning process for me, but I'm just learning to because I really have like a challenge with understanding the concept of time and the order of how to do things. So like I have really been working on that, and I think that has been very like helpful to me in my experience of unmasking and navigating the world as a neurodivergent individual. And so like I don't think like a lot of people why a lot of people know why this conversation is so important, because like a lot of times we don't like even though there's a lot of layers to the discussion about disability, especially when you navigating as a Black individual, and then is another level when you navigate in the disability community as a disabled Black woman. There's like ableism, misogyny, and racism that's rooted in the disability community and in every other community, because like systemic racism is rooted in the DNA of America. And until people that higher up is ready to acknowledge that and to really to create systemic and structural and systematic structure to improve the racism problems within America, we will continue to have this same conversation. And with that being said, the ADA, the laws was just established in 1990, which make it 34 years old. I will be 33 years old, so I'm only a year younger than the ADA. And it is still like a taboo topic, and it's a problem when like it's like you have to fight to the teeth and nails to get to ensure that you get accommodations and your accessibility needs are met within the educational system, within employment or the working environment, or within like the living environment. And people don't know isn't like a knowledge of the ADA, and that they're like a lot of these buildings are supposed to be ADA accessible. And then when you add on neurodivergency, is a whole other conversation, because a lot of like non-disabled people or neurotypical people, when they think of disability, they instantly think about someone in a wheelchair, which make like accommodations and accessibility needs for a neurodivergent individual so much harder. Like I know for me, like I do have like a hyper independence, because a lot of times, like when I asked for me, like a lot of times when it felt like my brain was going to explode outside my head, and I got all types of CAT scans and MRI, the doctors tell me like, oh, nothing is wrong with you, you're free to go. I'm like, even if like medical experts and professionals and educational people can't help me, then it's up to me to like find to figure this out on my own. And I have done that by doing in-depth research to really to understand the problem when it comes to this disability discrimination. And and when we um really want to like talk about why disability is such a taboo topic within the Black community and in America, in the world in general, because it goes all the way back to 1619, when the first enslaved African was brought to the shores of America, because the very institution of slavery has crippled and disabled the Black race. Like, in the very fact that it's not commonly known that after 1865, people with disabilities weren't able to leave the plantation as freely as a non-disabled counterparts due to mobility and cognitive challenges, which resulted to them to still be continue to be enslaved or placed in human zoos or freak shows or other medical institutions. And like, a lot of people don't know about the story of blind Tom Wiggins. Blind Tom Wiggins was blind and also on the autism spectrum, and he was the first Black person to play and to perform in the White House, but he never reaped the full benefits of his talents and gifts. But the white people who own him did. And also, Antoinette Harrell have done in-depth research of the Black people who were still enslaved all the way up until 1963 in the deep, deep, deep South. And now I haven't found within Antoinette Harrell research, but I strongly believe that those people, Black people who were still enslaved all the way up to 1963, were the descendants of the Black people, disabled Black people who couldn't leave the plantation in 1865, which is a huge reason why disability is a taboo topic in the Black community. Because in my research, from when I was doing the I Am event series, Disability, Art, Life, and Culture, I co-authored a disability resource guidebook created from the Black disabled lens with TJ Gordon. And through that research, we discover a lot of iconic Black heroes and Black celebrities that have disabilities. But a lot of times it's not widely known, because a lot of time Black people, if they want to be successful and influential in society, they have to separate the disabled identity from their Blackness or who they are as like a human, which leads to a lot of neurodivergent individuals or disabled people suffer in silence because we have to silence a part of our identity, which is like a huge problem. So, the very reason why I created the I Am event series, Disability, Art, Life, and Culture, is because I wanted to properly document disability, art, life, and culture through the Black disabled lens. Because a lot of people don't know the reason why that a lot of historic and iconic disabled Black figures was responsible for the implementation of the ADA laws, and that the ADA is just uh, uh, an imitation. What they call that? I can't think of the word, but it's just like a carbon copy of the civil rights movement, and what all the civil rights icon was able to accomplish for equality for Black people living in America. And so it's a copy of that. And a lot of times, like, that historical context and fact is erased from the ADA and disability history. And that's why a lot of times we see, who's that just passed? Judy Herman. She's known as the mother of the disability rights movement. But a lot of time when, like, we talking about Judy Herman and disability, is often talked about through a white disabled lens, and Black disabled people and other people of color and other marginalized people are continuing to be left out of the conversation, which is a fucking problem. And this is the exact reason why I've created, facilitated, and curated the I Am event series, Disability, Art, Life, and Culture. And from this initiative, I directed and produced an innovative experimental film called Welcome to Our Healing Sanctuary, which is an example of a digital healing sanctuary, and it follows the journey of two neurodivergent Black women who have TBI and PTSD, and who connect with nature and use art as a healing tool. And that film is edited and produced from the perspective of the insight of a neurodivergent individual mind. And I also co-authored the disability resource guidebook, Being Black and Disabled is New Cool. I also created like a beta app, and I also facilitated my own disability expo, because like what I also feel is that a lot of things that's missing is that I feel like a lot of like disabled people aren't given the proper tools or resources to help them to live a comfortable and successful life, or how they can become an entrepreneur or build a business around their artistry. And when we're thinking about discrimination, that's real. That's another hindrance. And for like BIPOC people with disability receiving these resources, which is the exact reason why I created the I Am event series, Disability, Art, Life, and Culture, which led me to like my current mission of pioneering the world's first neurodivergent-focused social media production company. And now it has been a long time coming of like getting to this moment, a lot of trials and error, a lot of experimentation to like to really get to the root of like how I need to be positioned this, and how can I reach my ideal audience, and how can I create a living and be sustainable in doing this work. And I finally found it with like my initiative of launching the intergalactic virtual panel on April 24th, 2024, where I will be facilitating a virtual panel discussion series to amplify neurodivergent Black women voices in media and tech. Because let's be real, we I currently like witness the disruption of Hollywood, the entertainment industry, and just the standard way of how we live life, how we do business, and the rigidness and the strictness that comes with it, and the need for people to possess power and control over others while doing business, which is like ludicrous to me, because like I don't understand why in business why you have the need to feel to want to possess someone's um power over their own self, to possess their autonomy. Like that's crazy. Like we all are free humans, and like and I feel like a lot of things need to be restructured, because just like how we live like day to day, and just to make sure that we have enough to survive is like another form of slavery or colonization. like the price of rent right now, and like in minimum wage, is not adding up, and it's just like so much work that needs to be done. And that's why like I'm pioneering the world's first neurodivergent-focused social media production company. Because at first it was my mission to disrupt Hollywood by working with film executives and other producers out in Hollywood on how to make the film industry more inclusive for neurodivergent individuals and those who battle with chronic illness. But I soon learned that if you don't speak their language, or you don't play their little mind games, like they're not trying to hear what you're trying to say. So now I am disrupting Hollywood by creating my own. And no matter how I feel about Tyler Perry and the quality of his films, but one thing I can say, I have nothing but respect for that man, because like when Hollywood wasn't trying to hear what he had to say, he was like, okay, cool, and he went to go build his own, and I can respect that. And it's just like there's so many like heroes that like I have now, and Monique being like my top like Shiro, because like her journey of receiving justice and equality and standing her ground against like Netflix and the whole conglomerate of Hollywood, the film industry. She never batted an eye. She never doubled down on her word. She stood 10 toes down, and she lived boldly in her truth. And and by her standing her ground, she was able to reach, either win her lawsuit against Netflix, or come to like a settlement where that line that put more in line with her value. And her journey has taught me how to stand boldly and firmly, and showed up unapologetically as a neurodivergent Black woman living in America. And but before Monique, there was Sophia Stewart, who was in like a 10-plus year legal battle with, I think, with Warner Studios, and with the brothers who created the Matrix and the Terminator, because like they stole her work, but she never gave in. She stood firmly. and she get her just dues. And I think that's the key lesson. Like sometimes, especially in this world right now, we want like instant gratification, microwave results, and we don't want to have to go through the dark night of the soul. We don't want to have to go through the struggle, to having to be re-traumatized over and over again, and really take the times out how to transform that trauma into like an artistic healing experience, to transmute that energy to become tools and resources that you need to help reach your next destination in life. And I think that's what it's all about trusting the process, of being fully present in the moment. And like no matter what happens, you always have to believe, no matter how hard it is. And yes, so that's all I have. And I just want to remind all you beautiful souls to remember to be kind and gentle to yourself. And yes, and